I'm going to just take you through the service fees that Curtis mentioned there, and then Mike will be able to give you an update on our product work that we've been doing. Next slide, please. I feel like I'm part of a government briefing meeting. Okay, so Curtis sent out to the membership list our budget and service fees documents last week, so hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at those. We've again been able to do a 10% discount across all ports. So that's across all the port sizes, across all the lands. It will be 10% discount from 1st of January onwards. So the 1 gig ports there are included in the membership fee. So as before, the £100 membership fee per month covers a 1 gig port on all of the lands. The fee that you see in the brackets there is for the secondary 1 gig ports. If you were to take, 2 gig, 3 gig, then that's the subsequent fee for those ports. Again, with the 10 gigs, you see the reduction in fees there across all of the lands. Similarly with 100, and then you'll see a new line at the bottom there, which is the 400 gig product that we are launching next year. Been doing a lot of work on that this year and a lot more work on it next year, but we do have the price that we'll be charging for that now. Richard will be covering more of that in his presentation later, but it's good to see that new product there on the pricing chart. So that's the overall view of the fees for next year. Next slide. So I was not going to cover everything in that service fees document because obviously there's a lot of products and pricing in there that you can go and look at in your own time. But we did want to highlight some changes we're making to our private interconnect product in London. So just to give you a quick overview, the private interconnect product is offered across the entire Telehouse campus and also at Digital Realty Sovereign House in London. LINX currently rents about 21 racks from the data centres in order to host the equipment and provide this service. We have about 100 members at the moment who are currently using this service and have purchased this in the past for their use. About exactly 542 PI bundles are installed and 1,876 fibres within those bundles are used for live connections. So you can kind of round that up to saying that we're facilitating around 1,000 live private interconnects between members across the Telehouse campus and across the Sovereign House campus as well. So it's a big infrastructure that we're maintaining there. 21 racks from the data center providers as well that we're paying for. And speaking to the NOC and the provisioning team, the team probably have about 100 visits a year that they have to make to site to facilitate the patching requests that we see from the members. So that's a bit of an overview of the private interconnect we've got in London. Next slide. So the changes that you'll see for next year is that we decided, after consulting with the board, we've decided to introduce a £500 recurring fee for the intra-site bundles. And this fee will come into effect from the 1st of July next year. So we've put a point in there to sort of avoid a rush of orders on sort of like the 30th of June. We're asking that if you are ordering a bundle between 1st of January and the end of June next year, that at least one of those pairs is bought live with another member before 1st of July. Otherwise, that bundle will be subject to the £500 recurring fee. One of the other changes we're making as well is when we launched in North 2, we had a really good promotional deal that was trying to drive the traffic and drive the interest in that site. So the North 2 intersite PI had different pricing to the rest of the campus. We're now making more of an effort to harmonise our products, harmonise our pricing. So from the 1st of July next year, the pricing for North 2 intersite PI will come in line with the rest of the Telehouse campus. So that equates to a £1,000 one-off fee and then the annual recurring of $2,400. And then finally, following discussions with the board and the NOC, we've decided to add a £100 one-off fee per connection order or request. So if you're filling in a request form to patch up to another member, then that will incur a £100 one-off fee for that. There is also in the document details about an expedite fee as well if you need that within 24 hours. We do, the engineering team do try to get to all of these requests ASAP, but if there is a particular urgency for a patch, then there's an expedite fee as well, which is an extra £400 on that fee. So I'll just pause there because that's the end of the section on the fees. As I said, Curtis sent out the document last week, so you can read through it in more detail, but I'll just check if there's any questions at that stage before I hand over to Mike about those fees. And I can't see anything, so I will hand over to Mike for the next section about product.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. So for me, it's just a couple of quick updates on what we have mentioned before. So the main product on the product side of things, the main product that we're working on is that we announced at the LINX Live meeting is Cloud Connect product, which really is going to allow you to get a direct layer 2 connection to cloud providers. And it's using our private VLAN product to achieve this. You can use this on your existing ports by changing them into what we call multi-service port, basically a .1q tech port, and you can have your existing peering connection on one VLAN, and then use additional VLANs to connect to cloud providers, or you can use it over dedicated ports as you wish. We're currently working on finalizing all of the changes to our backend systems to allow us to do this in a fully automated way. So we're finalizing the changes to our network config automation. We're working on the order forms for the portal, and of course the CRM side to document the business side of the service for these new products. We're still our target launch date is to do this before the end of the year on LINX1 initially, which is where we have the capability of doing private VLANs. Over time, we hope we can extend this to other LANs as well. We started off with Microsoft and Amazon as the initial cloud providers that will be available for this. So it's your typical Azure Express Route service and AWS Direct Connect. In addition, we're also working with Microsoft to make the Azure peering service available through LINX. For those of you who don't know this, and it's probably a bit of a niche product for a certain type of member. It's kind of a managed peering service with Microsoft, which comes with an SLA. It is implemented at our end as a closed user group, so it's its own small peering LAN with a dedicated managed route server by LINX, which will then give you peering with Microsoft through that way for those who prefer to do it that way. The other one, to give an update, even though it doesn't really fall under products, but I've talked about this so many times in my former role, is the root server looking glass, and I will talk a bit about the collector looking glass in a second. So this has actually gone live unnoticed by many. I think it got pushed live on Friday. So as we said, we deployed the Alice Looking Glass, which is an open source implementation used by a couple of exchanges by now, and it gives us a much more modern, much more flexible looking glass functionality on our root server. So it is available now. It's available on all of our peering LANs, so all of the root servers are using this now. This is just an example on what the interface looks like for those of you who haven't used it in the past. Others might find all of this very familiar. So this is the view on RS111, so the main root server on the LINX1 network. You can see there's still a couple of minor improvements which we're gonna make. You see that it shows a category there of filtered prefixes, which can be a little bit misleading, which is linked to the fact the way we built the bird configs. Some prefixes get filtered at ingress, others get filtered on egress. What it shows currently in the filtered category is prefixes which would get filtered on ingress, i.e. they are smaller than a /24, which wouldn't get accepted, or they are bogons or Martians. But you can also, if we look at the peers, so this is prefixes from our own network 5459, which is mainly a number of DNS root servers and a couple of other services that we are hosting. But you can dig quite deep into there and just show the communities that are available, filtered by the communities. In this case, since these are our prefixes, the only communities that are visible for those are the communities that get added by the root server as part of the prefix validation. So you can quite easily see those, and that it means also quite easily check if all of your prefixes pass, which you could obviously do all of this before by knowing the communities, but this is a much more user-friendly way of doing it. Again, for those of you who know this, so we're not the only ones using Alice. Alice LG is the front end, and it's using Birdwatcher, which is basically plugs into Bird and provides a proper API into Bird. I mentioned it's available on all of the peering LANs. It also has a fairly complete JSON API available that you can use, that you can access. I've put a couple of examples in here to give you some ideas. There's full documentation available. I've noticed we haven't updated our documentation on the portal yet, but we'll put a number of examples there for those of you who are not as familiar with it. But it allows you quite simply to if you want to, include the output into your own script, your own tools, if you want to do so. So that is live now for all of the exchanges. I don't think it's live yet for JEDIX, but that will follow. And then the same thing is going to happen with the collectors. Where we're currently in the process of moving, as everybody who has been at these meetings before might remember, collectors traditionally were fairly old Cisco 7200 routers. So we're currently in the process of doing the final steps on replacing those, and they will get replaced by instances of Bird, one on each of the peering LANs, and again the same way will provide a looking glass based on LSLG for the collectors in parallel to the root server looking glass. So that's going to give you the same functionality there, and also give you the API to access the collector data. And the last one, as Curtis mentioned already, we're doing a lot of work on a full refresh of the UX UI of the LINX portal. A couple of you might even be involved in some of the end user testing that we're doing with a third-party company that we're working on to design the new interface that the portal is going to have. So we're currently in the phase where we're doing a lot of prototypes with them. And going through user testing for all of the variations that we do, and all of that work is going to finish this year, and then the implementation phase is going to start early on next year. The other part, which is at least as important as the actual user interface, is actually making sure that it is usable and responsive. And we know very well that there is still a performance issue on certain parts of the stats that we're showing, both SNMP based and flow based. So there's also a project running in parallel to the front end to change some of the back-end implementations and hopefully significantly improve the performance of accessing that data. So there's going to be a lot to come there in the first part of next year.